Is their friendship an illusion? Behind a sweet smile and a hug in front of the camera, it turns out that Jungkook is secretly hiding a big project from Taehyung in America. Why doesn't Taehyung know? And what is the reason Jungkook chose to keep quiet despite knowing the impact could destroy everything? The truth is revealed in the USA. This is why Jungkook hid everything from Taehyung. Taehyung doesn't know. Jungkook is doing this secretly in America. Jungkook to start new project without Taehyung, is this just a strategy? Or is it precisely the beginning of the end of a friendship that has been considered unshakable? Why did Jungkook choose to keep everything a secret, even from Taehyung himself? One sentence from a source who did not want to be named was enough to shake things up. He, Jungkook, has already decided to step up, without looking back. America. The continent that had been just a place of work and sudden promotions turned into a place where Jungkook started something big, but in silence. While the camera's spotlight is no longer on them as BTS's legendary visual duo, Taehyung remains in Korea, smiling in ignorance, perhaps while devising a different plan that will never intersect with Jungkook's new move. But why now? Why not a joint project as usual? Is this a decision that comes from agency pressure? Or is it just a personal decision that has been held back? Jungkook's discreet trip to America did not initially arouse any suspicion. Most ARMY think it's just a personal affair, some guest filming commercials, or a personal break after a big promotion. However, rumors began to spread when several insiders mentioned Jungkook's presence in the Los Angeles studio, and even more astonishing, the studio was not directly related to HYB's official project. So what project exactly is he working on? One name is mentioned in every speculation: Charlie Puth. Some eyewitnesses claim to have seen them in the same place. But that's not surprising enough, until one report leaked and mentioned that Jungkook was preparing an international collaboration project that didn't involve Taehyung at all. No duets, no cameos, not even discussions. The question becomes even darker: is their relationship not going well? During this time, the world saw them laughing together, performing live together, to mention each other's names in various interviews. But what happens when one of them decides to hide something of this magnitude? Taehyung's reaction remains a mystery. As of this news, Taehyung has yet to issue an official statement. But it was precisely his silence that made everything even more suspicious. Did he know but chose to remain silent for the sake of preserving the image of the group? Or is it that he really doesn't know and is now processing a sense of betrayal? Taehyung's one short post on Instagram only contains a photo of the twilight sky with no caption. But fans' comments exploded with one common question: is this code? Jungkook did not elaborate, but the movements began differently. He looks more reserved than usual, rarely appears on live broadcasts, and every time he appears, the look on his face cannot hide something. Inner conflict, guilt, or just justification. Some fans began comparing Jungkook's changes to the early days of his debut. He was always honest and open. But now something is on hold. Even his eyes can't lie. One fan wrote on Twitter, "IS this proof that he realized what he was doing could hurt Taehyung." What makes it all the more emotional is the fact that this project, touted to be Jungkook's biggest so far as a soloist, involves some world-class musicians and is likely to be part of his debut in the American music industry. But why not involve Taehyung? Is this the agency's intention? Or Jungkook's own choice? In the past, when asked about the possibility of doing a solo project, Jungkook once said, "I want to do something that I can be proud of, but also something that I can share with the members." So when the decision this time looks so solitary and exclusive, the question hangs in the air. What changed? A source close to the production said there was tension behind the scenes. Jungkook had asked that this project not be announced first. He said he wasn't ready for the public's reaction, or maybe someone's reaction. She said, "IS, someone Taehyung." Some of the ARMY began to feel divided. On the one hand, they supported Jungkook's solo move. But on the other hand, there is a sense of emptiness when knowing that the person who has been touted as his closest friend does not know at all. More than that, do not get involved. Their friendship is not just a relationship between two idols, but a symbol of BTS's strength as a family. So, when one of them chooses his own path, it's not just Taehyung who feels abandoned. ARMY also feels heartbroken. Some say this is just a temporary phase. That one day they will sit down together and explain everything. But what if it's not just a phase? What if this is really the beginning of two different paths? Will this be a story about Jungkook's solo success, or a story about a loss that can never be fixed again? Taehyung once said in an interview, "I always believed Jungkook would do great things, and I wanted to be there when it happened." Now, those words feel like painful memories, and the question kept spinning in everyone's head. Did Jungkook deliberately hide everything because he knew Taehyung would object? Or because he knew Taehyung would be the most disappointed? A step-by-step is now forming a new history. But behind it, something is missing. Something that has always made them so loved. Honesty, togetherness, and mutual trust. Now the world is waiting. Not only the official news from the agency, but also the words from Taehyung himself. Will he be silent forever? Or will he reveal the secrets of his heart? Are we witnessing Jungkook's spectacular career transformation, or the beginning of a sad chapter in BTS's story that has been so perfect? However, the silence was all the more suspicious when one of the former junior staffers on HYB's documentation team anonymously delivered a shaking confession. He mentioned that during one of the rehearsal recording sessions before Jungkook went abroad to meet his family, there was a moment of confrontation that was deliberately not recorded in full because it was given direct orders from the production manager. In his confession, he mentions, Taehyung held Jungkook's arm and asked in a very low voice, "Why didn't you tell me the truth?" But before the cameras could get any closer, we were told to stop filming. That's no ordinary request. We were asked to shut up and keep the raw footage on a separate, locked drive. The tape, to date, has never been released. Even senior video editors reportedly did not know about the existence of the file after it was saved. The question is, what was so important in that conversation that it had to be locked up and kept away from the public? And why did HYB choose to hide it, rather than explain it openly? This concern grew even more when some very observant fans discovered hidden details from one of the promotional portraits. In the photo where the 7 members are sitting in a row, Jungkook and Taehyung are further apart than usual. Even their hands that used to touch each other, in a very natural and emotional way now, seem to be trying to avoid each other. Fans dubbed the photo the Gap of Silence and quickly spread it on social media, adding to the theory that HYB had indeed composed the body composition to hide reality. More than that, another shocking event occurred when Taehyung spontaneously uploaded an old video of the two of them on Instagram story, only to delete it in less than a minute. The video shows them sitting on the roof of the building, laughing and talking silently, like pieces of memories that do not want to be released. But why was the video deleted so quickly? Who asked for it? And why is that moment the only reminder that the two were ever so close? Some fans suspect the video is not just a form of longing, but perhaps some kind of code. Code that Taehyung is trying to communicate with Jungkook secretly. Or it could be, it is a form of protest to the system that limits their freedom of expression of the actual relationship. Then came an even more hair-raising moment when Jungkook said in an overseas interview that there are things that can't even be said to the person you trust the most. This interview was then heavily discussed by the army because Jungkook's facial expression seemed to lose direction shortly after the sentence came out. His mouth seemed to want to continue, but he bit his lips and lowered his head. What does Taehyung mean? Or was the pressure so great that he had to keep it to himself? This emotional conflict became even more apparent when Taehyung appeared on the live broadcast and played a song that is very familiar to longtime fans, Rain from BTS. They used to play that song together a lot. But this time, Taehyung just stared blankly at the camera. No smiles. No kidding, he said. Some things are heavier than rain in the middle of the night. The sentence is simple, but when it is linked to all the previous events, it feels like a very deep code, and very sad that ARMY also began to form various conspiracy theories that suggested that HYB may have gone too far in interfering in the personal lives of the members. Some say that it's not just about schedules or contracts, but also about relationships and emotional freedom between members. Many suspect that HYB is now directing the narrative so that Taehyung and Jungkook look professional, not personal, as if suppressing any closeness that used to be so real became a kind of curated memories. If all this is true, then we are witnessing not just a musical performance, but a show of emo. If we go back a little bit, to the days before Jungkook was scheduled to meet his family, there was one event that is now viewed with a different spotlight. At that time, Taehyung and Jungkook were scheduled to take part in a secret photo shoot for a limited merchandise project. Only certain staff are allowed to attend. But strangely, the photo shoot was cancelled suddenly for no apparent reason. All the prepared equipment was dismantled, and the staff were given directions not to mention it in official reports. Why was such an important event suddenly cancelled? And why is there not a single documentation left from that day? A freelance photographer who claimed to have been at the location revealed something very surprising. He saw Taehyung come out of the dressing room ahead of schedule, his face flushed as if he had burst into tears. Soon, Jungkook followed, but with a flat, expressionless face. They don't talk to each other, not looking at each other. It was as if an invisible wall stretched between them. As the photographer tried to take a picture, one of HYB's managers approached him and asked in a stern tone for all shots to be deleted. Where does such pressure come from? And is this incident directly related to HYB's decision to hide certain footage? Why is it that every moment that could be a clue is always deleted or obscured? This suspicion does not stop there. One of BTS's documentary editors, who used to work behind the series Break the Silence, revealed that he was once assigned to edit a special episode about Jungkook and Taehyung's closeness. The episode was originally full of emotional stories, laughter, and very touching personal statements. But suddenly, the project was withdrawn, and the entire file was locked by the HYB Data Security Division. It can't even access the hard disk it originally held. It's like I'm losing part of my own work, he said bitterly. It was an honest episode. Maybe too honest. Even more astonishing is the fact that before the video was frozen, the editor had time to save a cut of the transcript from the interview session. In that session, Jungkook had revealed, "Sometimes I wish I could say everything, but I knew it would ruin things." Then followed by Taehyung's sentence that makes goosebumps. "You don't have to say anything, Kook. They won't let you either." The sentence brought a completely different atmosphere from the cheerful and friendly image they were used to. Is there so much pressure from the outside? Or does the pressure come from within their own group? Now, if we connect it to the time when Jungkook finally decided to disappear for a moment and meet his family, the moment of separation no longer seems so ordinary. It looks like an emotional decision, perhaps even the final decision of a person who feels saturated and tired of a reality that he cannot control. And no less heartbreaking was when Jungkook showed up at the airport on his way to the US alone. There is no companion from the team. No HYB security personnel, as usual. There are no other members. Even his manager seemed to be keeping his distance. Some soldiers mentioned that his eyes were puffy. A fan who managed to get close and give him the letter said that Jungkook had grasped the letter firmly before boarding the plane, but did not say a word. Meanwhile, in Korea, Taehyung shared a short story on his personal social platform. The story lasted only a few minutes before it was deleted. What's in it? Just one blurry photo of an empty bench in the rehearsal studio with the caption, "You left without saying goodbye." Many thought it was just an ordinary post. But after all these events, the meaning of the phrase became sharper, more personal. Does Taehyung feel abandoned? Or is he just angry because he couldn't prevent Jungkook from leaving? And if so, why don't they talk to each other? These questions continue to roll in, and the public is now beginning to grope for the truth covered in a silent fog. Especially after an audio recording appeared that allegedly came from the rehearsal room. In the footage, the voices of two men, one of whom looks a lot like Jungkook's scream in frustration. "Why should I keep pretending?" is the most prominent sentence of the snapshot. It was followed by another, quieter voice which said, "Because you can't fight them." Are they talking about the company? Or about public pressure? Or about the feelings they've been hiding? Until when will we continue to accept one-sided narratives from management? Until when do we believe that all is well just because no one says otherwise? If HYB actually holds evidence, be it videos, records, or conversations, that shed light on what really happened between Jungkook and Taehyung, then their silence is a form of betrayal of public trust. ARMY is not just a fan. They're witnesses. They are the heart and soul of every step of BTS. And they deserve to know the truth. Lately, hint after hint keeps popping up. From unusually cold expressions during live broadcasts to song lyrics that vaguely convey pressing feelings and painful separations. Even in the latest